Why do so many people pass away before the age of 85, even when they appear perfectly healthy and full of life in their 70s? It's a question that lingers quietly in the minds of many older adults, especially those who are determined to stay sharp, strong, and independent for as long as possible. You may be eating all the right foods, keeping up with your doctor's appointments, and taking every prescribed medication faithfully. On the surface, you're doing everything by the book. But what if I told you that some of the greatest threats to your longevity aren't the big dramatic events you might fear? They're not sudden heart attacks or unexpected illnesses that come out of nowhere. Instead, they're the subtle, everyday choices, the little things you do or fail to do, that slowly and quietly erode your health and vitality over time. These hidden dangers don't announce themselves with loud alarms. They work in the background, chipping away at your strength, draining your energy, and weakening your body's natural defenses. By the time you begin to feel the effects, years of unnoticed habits may already have done their damage. In today's video, we're going to take a deep and thoughtful look at 5 critical mistakes that countless people make without realizing the toll they're taking on their future. These aren't just generic health tips you've heard 100 times before. They're deeply personal, practical insights, lessons learned from decades of research, from the wisdom of experienced doctors and caregivers, and from the real-life stories of people who have either defied the odds or, sadly, succumbed far too soon. Whether you're 65 and just beginning to notice the changes of aging, or you're already in your 70s or early 80s wondering what the next decade might hold, these 5 avoidable mistakes could very well be the hidden reasons your body is aging faster than it should. And the most important part? We're not just here to point out the problems. We're here to show you what you can do today, right now, to slow down that clock and give yourself a better chance at not only reaching 85, but thriving well beyond it. Because longevity is about more than years on a calendar. It's about living fully, staying mobile enough to do the things you love, staying mentally sharp enough to engage with the people and experiences that matter most, and waking up each day with a sense of meaning and purpose that makes life worth living. So, if you're serious about making the most of your golden years, if you want to avoid the quiet pitfalls that can steal your strength and shorten your life, then stay with us. Over the next few minutes, we're going to unpack each of these 5 hidden mistakes in detail. We'll share the science, the stories, and most importantly, the solutions that can help you build a life that isn't just longer, but richer, healthier, and more joyful. Let's get started. Let's dive into the 5 key reasons most people don't make it past 85, and more importantly, how you can make sure you're not one of them. Mistake 1: ignoring everyday movement. The first big mistake many people make after 65 is thinking that formal exercise is the only kind that matters. You know what I mean. Those intense workouts, fancy gyms, or complicated fitness programs that honestly just don't fit into your life anymore. And because of that mindset, many older adults give up altogether. But here's the truth. It's not the gym that saves you. It's the little daily movements that keep you alive longer than you think. Walking to the mailbox, bending down to pull weeds, reaching for the dishes, standing while talking on the phone. These small actions are your body's secret weapon against decline. When you stop moving, even just a little less each day, your muscles quietly weaken, your joints stiffen, your balance becomes more fragile. And the worst part? You often don't notice these changes until you've had a fall or feel too tired to even get dressed in the morning. That's how the slide into frailty begins. Not with a bang, but with a whisper. And it's not just physical decline. Movement is tied directly to circulation, brain activity, and even emotional health. When you move, you pump blood to your brain. You release chemicals that lift your mood. You stretch your lungs, strengthen your bones, and keep your digestion working. But when you spend most of your time sitting day after day, your body starts preparing for shutdown. Slowly, quietly, and efficiently. It's like your brain decides, well, I guess we're not needed anymore, and starts dialing everything down. One powerful study showed that just standing up and moving for 3 minutes every half hour reduced the risk of dying early by over 30%. Not running, not lifting weights, just gentle movement. But sadly, most people underestimate it. Let me tell you about Walter, a retired bus driver from Iowa. He was 78 and had given up most physical activity after retiring. He didn't feel sick, he didn't have any major issues, but he told his daughter, "I just feel slower and stiffer every year." After a small fall while getting out of bed, his doctor warned him, "Your strength is fading faster than your age should allow." That was a wake-up call. So, instead of going to a gym, Walter started doing something else. He made a rule to never sit for more than 30 minutes without getting up. Whether it was stretching, walking across the house, or just doing a few leg lifts by the kitchen sink, he moved. And 6 months later, he said he felt 5 years younger. Not because he worked harder, but because he moved more. The reason this matters so much is because of a dangerous mindset many older adults adopt. It's normal to slow down. Yes, some slowing is natural, but inactivity is not. When we treat motion as optional, we speed up the very process we fear, losing independence. The truth is, longevity doesn't belong to the fastest, strongest, or youngest. It belongs to the consistent movers, the ones who keep showing up, even if it's just a lap around the living room. So, if you're over 65 and you want to make it to 85 and beyond, remember this: every step counts. You don't need to be an athlete. You just need to stay in motion. Because the moment you stop moving, your body starts writing a different ending to your story, and it's one you may not want. Keep walking, keep reaching, keep standing. That's how you stay here longer. Mistake 2. Skipping preventive health checks. One of the most overlooked reasons people don't make it to 85 isn't some dramatic illness or accident. It's the silent problems they never saw coming. And that's because many older adults stop going to the doctor unless something hurts. They skip their checkups, ignore small changes, and hope everything is just part of getting older. But that quiet avoidance is a mistake that can cost you years. You see, many of the deadliest conditions, high blood pressure, diabetes, certain cancers, don't cause pain in their early stages. They creep in slowly, affecting your organs, your circulation, your immune system, without any loud warning signs. By the time you feel symptoms, the damage may already be deep. But if caught early, most of these conditions can be managed, treated, or even reversed. The catch is, you have to catch them first. Here's the tricky part. It's human nature to avoid discomfort. No one enjoys going to the doctor, hearing hard truths, or sitting through lab work. But for people over 65, skipping your annual checkups is like driving a car and never checking the oil. Everything might seem fine until the engine fails without warning. And unfortunately, that's exactly how many people end up in the emergency room, only to hear the words, "If we had caught this sooner." Let's talk about Evelyn, a 72-year-old grandmother from Ohio. She felt fine, no real complaints, just a little fatigue here and there. But her daughter pushed her to go for a full checkup just to be safe. Turns out, Evelyn's blood sugar was dangerously high. She was pre-diabetic and didn't even know it. But because she caught it early, she made a few changes, cut out sugary snacks, started walking after dinner, and within a year, her numbers were back in the safe zone. No medications, no hospital visits, just awareness and action. Why do so many people avoid this? One word: fear. Fear of bad news, fear of aging, or fear of being told what you don't want to hear. But ironically, facing those fears head-on gives you power. It puts you in control. When you know what's going on inside your body, you can fight back. You can make decisions, not excuses. And that's what separates those who thrive in their 80s from those who don't make it past their 70s. There's also a false belief that what I don't know can't hurt me. But for older adults, The opposite is true. What you don't know is exactly what can take you down. Think of screenings like colonoscopies, mammograms, blood pressure checks, prostate exams. They're not just for catching disease, they're for protecting your future. They're the guardrails on a winding road, keeping you steady even when you can't see what's ahead. And let's not forget the emotional side. Getting regular checkups isn't just about disease, it's about peace of mind, knowing your numbers, having a doctor who understands your history, building a plan for your health. It all adds up to confidence. And confidence leads to better habits, better sleep, and less stress. It's a ripple effect. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now, let's move forward. Mistake 3: isolating yourself from others. One of the quietest killers in old age isn't heart disease or cancer, it's loneliness. We don't often talk about it, but isolation is a health risk just as serious as smoking, high blood pressure, or obesity. When people drift away from friends, lose contact with family, or stop engaging in community life, something in them begins to fade. Their sense of purpose weakens, their spirit dulls, and slowly their body follows. Now, this doesn't mean you need a house full of people or endless social events. It's about connection, real, meaningful connection. It's about having someone to laugh with, talk to, and share your thoughts with. And yet, as we grow older, many of us pull back. Maybe it's because we've lost loved ones, maybe we don't feel as sharp as we once were, or maybe we think, I don't want to bother anyone, so we stay home. We stay quiet, and over time, we start to disappear, not just from other people's lives, but from our own. The science on this is startling. Studies have shown that seniors who experience chronic loneliness have a 26% to 45% higher risk of early death. Why? Because isolation chips away at everything. It disrupts sleep, it weakens your immune system, it leads to depression, anxiety, and even cognitive decline. Your brain needs other people like your body needs water. When you don't use those emotional muscles, they shrink. Take George, for example. He's 78 and lives in Arizona. After his wife passed, he spent nearly 2 years barely talking to anyone besides the mailman. His health began to slide. He lost weight, stopped shaving, and his arthritis got worse. But everything changed when a neighbor invited him to a weekly coffee group at the local community center. He didn't want to go, but he did. That one act of courage led to friendships, laughter, and a sense that he still mattered. Within months, his mood lifted. He slept better. Even his physical pain felt more manageable. The truth is, connection keeps us alive, not just physically, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. But to maintain it, we have to reach out. Even when it feels hard, we have to make the call, say yes to the invitation, join the group, or start the conversation. Waiting for others to notice we're lonely doesn't work. People are busy, distracted, or unaware. You have to be your own advocate for connection. And here's the deeper layer. When you isolate, it's not just that others miss out on you, you miss out on you. Because it's in conversation, in laughter, and being seen and heard that we feel fully human. The stories you tell, the wisdom you share, it matters. You matter. And your presence in someone's life can be the very thing they didn't know they needed, just as their presence might be the thing you need most right now. If you've been feeling distant or withdrawn, don't wait for the perfect moment. Just start small. Call an old friend, walk into a local library, say hello to a neighbor. These little acts of bravery build a bridge back to life. And when you cross it, you'll find that what you thought was lost, your joy, your strength, your spark, is still right there, waiting for you to come back. Mistake 4. Ignoring chronic inflammation. Here's something most folks over 60 don't realize. That nagging pain in your knees, the stiffness in your back, the puffiness in your hands, it might not just be age. It could be chronic inflammation. And left unchecked, it doesn't just make you uncomfortable. It quietly increases your risk for heart disease, Alzheimer's, diabetes, arthritis, and even early death. Inflammation in small bursts is your body's way of healing. You get a cut, and inflammation helps repair the skin. But when it lingers, when your body stays in that fight mode day after day, it starts to break down your healthy tissues instead of healing them. It's like leaving a fire smoldering in your house. It might not burn the whole place down at once, but little by little, the damage adds up. The problem is, most people don't even know they're inflamed. There's no loud alarm going off. It shows up as fatigue, brain fog, a little swelling here, a little stiffness there. But those are the whispers before the scream. And many seniors mistake it for just getting old, when really it's their body crying for help. Let me tell you about Nancy. She's 73 and had been living with sore joints, low energy, and frequent colds. Her doctor finally ran some tests and found elevated markers of inflammation. But instead of piling on more pills, they took a different route. Nancy began cutting out ultra-processed foods and added in anti-inflammatory staples like leafy greens, turmeric tea, and salmon twice a week. She also started walking for 20 minutes every morning, no matter the weather. 3 months later, she felt like a new woman. Her joints weren't perfect, but they moved better. Her mind was clearer. She even said her mood improved. That's because inflammation doesn't just affect your body, it affects your brain. When it flares up, your brain chemistry shifts. You're more likely to feel anxious, irritable, or depressed. And over time, that emotional weight can spiral into isolation, fatigue, and hopelessness, pushing people toward a much earlier decline than necessary. But there's good news. You have more power over inflammation than you think. It starts with what you put on your plate. Sugary snacks, fried foods, processed meats, those fuel the fire. But berries, olive oil, nuts, green tea, they help put it out. Add to that a little daily movement, good sleep, and managing your stress, and you're not just easing symptoms, you're slowing down aging at the root. And here's the deeper reason why this matters. Because every time you take action to reduce inflammation, you're sending a signal to your body, I'm not giving up, I'm still in this. That mindset changes everything. You go from surviving to thriving, from dreading each morning to looking forward to what the day might bring. So if you've been ignoring those small aches or brushing off your fatigue as just part of getting old, take another look. Your body might be trying to warn you, and the sooner you listen, the more years and more life you can add to your journey. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Now let's move forward. Mistake 5. Living without purpose. There's a reason people with a sense of purpose tend to live longer. It's not magic. It's biology, psychology, and human nature working together in quiet, powerful ways. When you wake up each day with something to look forward to, even something small, you give your brain a reason to engage, your body a reason to move, and your heart a reason to keep going. But far too many people after 65 slowly drift into a life that feels empty. The job is over, the kids are grown, the schedule quiets down, and without realizing it, their days begin to blur. They eat, nap, watch a little TV, maybe scroll through old memories, but the spark fades. Time moves, but life stands still. That's not aging, that's disconnection. And that disconnection is one of the greatest threats to longevity that no one warned you about. Purpose isn't about achieving big things or starting a company. It can be as simple as tending a garden, helping a neighbor, learning something new, or being someone your grandkids can count on. Purpose is what pulls you forward. It creates structure, meaning, and rhythm in your days. And when people lose it, they often start to wither, not just emotionally, but physically. There's even a name for this in research circles: existential frailty. It's when the absence of meaning begins to impact your health. Your immune system weakens, your motivation drops. You stop seeking out connections. You stop trying new things and slowly retreat from the world. And without that daily engagement, the body begins to follow the mind. Muscles atrophy, mental sharpness dulls, and joy gets harder to find. Let me tell you about Robert. He was 78 when his wife passed, and he said it felt like someone pulled the plug on his life. For a while, he just existed, ate what was easy, slept most of the day, and didn't care if he saw anyone. But one day, his daughter asked him to help his grandson learn to whittle wood for a school project. Robert used to be a carpenter, and that one moment lit a small spark. He started spending afternoons teaching his grandson simple techniques. Then the neighbor boy joined. Then the local church asked him to run a Saturday workshop. Within 6 months, Robert had something he hadn't felt in years: pride. He had a reason to get dressed, to smile, to plan. And guess what? His blood pressure improved. His energy went up. And he said he felt alive again. That's the power of purpose. It doesn't just make you feel better, it helps you live longer. And not just in years, but in quality. You laugh more. You build connections, which in turn strengthen your brain, protect your heart, and ward off depression. It's a ripple effect that starts with a single question: what gives my life meaning now? So, if you're retired, widowed, or just feeling like your best days are behind you, stop and reconsider. Maybe your purpose has changed. It probably has. But that doesn't mean it's gone. It might be hidden under your grief, your routine, or your fear, but it's there. And the moment you reach for it, your life begins again. Because living a long life isn't about avoiding death. It's about embracing life, even when it looks different than it used to, especially then. That's when it matters most. The truth is, reaching 85 isn't just about good genes or lucky breaks. It's about choices, simple, everyday choices that slowly add up over time. Most people don't die early because of one catastrophic mistake. They die early because they repeat small ones over and over without ever realizing the cost. They neglect their bodies, ignore their minds, cut themselves off from others, and slowly let go of the spark that made life worth living. You see, aging isn't the end. It's a new chapter. But whether that chapter is filled with love, connection, and health, or filled with regrets, comes down to how you write it. And you are still holding the pen. That alone is reason for hope. So ask yourself this: what's one small thing you can do differently starting today? Can you take a walk around the block instead of sitting inside? Can you call a friend instead of waiting for them to call you? Can you finally book that checkup you've been putting off? Or maybe can you just sit down with a cup of tea and ask yourself, what brings me joy now? Because the secret to a longer life isn't buried in some lab or locked away in a doctor's file. It's in your habits, your relationships, your mindset, and your willingness to believe that your story still matters. And it does. It matters more than you know. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.